Crypto Umbrella for digital asset legislation for Europe.
Guys, before we jump in and have a little chat about regulation and MiCA, etc., give us a 30-second intro, maximum 30-second intro, please, because these people have been hearing boring things all day, I'm very sure.
Here we go.
Let's start with
Natalie.
Go ahead.
My name is Natalie, and I'm a head of communication in Blackcatcard, which is a neobank based in Malta. And we exactly EMI, who really experience it in the regulation, really close to the MiCA, like we start to talk about it right now. Yeah.
Sub 20 seconds. Nice one. Chinua?
I'll try and beat that time. My name's Chinua. I'm a sales manager here at One. We work with the iGaming industry, supplying bank accounts. However, we also look after other sectors, for example, anything crypto-related, and also other sectors, for example, complex and offshore structures. There's a lot of companies that incorporate themselves in BVI, Isle of Man, and these types of jurisdictions.
TikTok, Chinua.
Perfect. You can see I like to talk.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the intro. Tanja.
Hi, my name is Tanja. I'm head of legal for the Acre Group. We are heavily involved in fintech sector, both forex, crypto, and as technology providers. And me myself, I've been involved in crypto for the past 6 years.
Thank you, Tanja. Perfect. Viktoria?
And yes, my name is Viktoria Soltesz, and I'm the founder of the payment consultancy company PSP Angels, and we are specialized in complex or challenging cases, being the bridge between the suffering merchants and the payment providers, showing people how banks think and how to get accepted by safer and cheaper payment providers.
Super. Thank you all for the lovely intro. On my part, I've been in crypto for 12 years. That's pretty much all you need to know. Let's jump into the questions. So let's talk about legislation, specifically what Europe is sort of doing with MiCA, right? So it's clearly taken the lead on a well, the lead, if Europe can ever take the lead on a sort of regulatory perspective. But do we think this thing is a good or bad for the industry? Let's start with Tanja.
It's an amazing thing for the industry, right? So
of course a lawyer would say that.
Yes, of course I will. So basically we are taking the lead in regulation. If you look what Gary is doing in America, that's definitely a confirmation where Europe is. So we have the first harmonized law. We're going to have over 27 countries which will be operating under this legislation. So we'll have the passporting system. However, we will have a lot of problems. So MiCA is coming into force in the next 18 months. We have, I would say, 2 regulators within the EU that are familiar with crypto, that are familiar with crypto regulation. That's Malta and France. The rest of the jurisdictions are operating under the AML directive, which is a completely different thing to MiCA.
By the rest of the jurisdictions, I'm assuming you mean Lithuania, Estonia, and those, or are we talking about?
Those 2, yes.
Okay, cool.
We can touch upon that too. So basically what MiCA does is it regulates the service providers of crypto assets, right? And the issuers of crypto assets. And it operates within the financial services sector, right? So it's a completely different thing to AML. What we have now is we have AML directives and what crypto asset service providers, which are simply registered with the FIUs of these jurisdictions. That goes for Estonia and Lithuania. It's more of a registration than it is a license.
Okay, that makes a little bit.
So you think that right now could be in Lithuania the same situation like we faced 1 year ago in Estonia, when a lot of huge amount of companies were not ready, not prepared for that, and a lot of companies closed just because of the regulation, because they start 2 years ago, approximately 2 years ago, to apply the regulations really close to MiCA, to the companies. And I think in Lithuania this year, a lot of companies will be really confused about new regulation, and that's really pretty sad, but I believe a lot of companies are going to be closed.
The thing is that I think that there is such a huge difference between these two regulations, right? So you have MiCA that covers investor protection, focuses on market stability, right? So you're looking into prudential and conduct of business requirements. AML is a part of compliance. It's not the full compliance that these companies are looking into. So yes, they all have the capital requirements, but the conduct of business, the corporate governance, these companies are not ready for it. And it's not just about the companies, the regulators are not ready for this. So we are looking into the regulation that's heavily based on technology. And in order to obtain a license, you need regulators, lawyers, and auditors. No one knows technology. Like, we just simply don't understand that. And we've seen this in Malta. We've seen what happened 5 or 6 years ago. Malta had a very bad name because of delayed registration processes, the lack of experience from the regulators, the lack of experience from the industry players as well, because you have crypto native people that wanted to enter into financial services space, and it was just a mess. But there's been a lot of growth that happened in the last 5 to 6 years. So there are a few regulators within EU that will be ready for it. The rest will see delays, will see people losing licenses or the registration, and yeah, we have at least 3 to 4 years until all of this settles down.
Natalia, do you agree?
No, actually, because...
Good,
okay,
good.
Yes, but no.
We have a panel, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I think that the previous experience we had in this industry, in crypto, says to us, let's go business and government through these new regulations together, you know?
Okay.
This is the point. This is really sad situation that no one asks the market, like, guys, we know you're not prepared. We know that you have no idea how to apply all these regulations, and maybe you can come hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder with us through these new regulations, you know?
Okay.
And that's my point of view. Like, we had sad experience in Estonia, okay?
Yeah.
Why no one from the government come to the market in Estonia and say, like, guys, we know we are not prepared, let's go to do that together.
Did
That is
market do
reason.
that?
No, I think the government need to do that. Local authorities need to do
the
that.
market should do that. Government is not going to do that. Government is going to sit down and wait for the regulation. The market
And in this case, in the
participants-
market player is going to sit down and wait for the...
That's their problem then, because they shouldn't be doing that. I mean, the
I'm
regulation
trying to make
is there
discussion,
for
I
them.
agree with you.
I think you're
Viktoria,
both
Tanja.
right on your own way. However, the most important thing that we need to always consider that what's the best for the end user. The little John who is at the end using your services, living in a society which is controlled by the government. So the government has one aim and one aim only. Pay your taxes and don't do anything illegal. So if there is a new technology, of course there's going to be some kind of cowboys who are taking advantage of that and try to find a loophole, how to, okay, MiCA is coming in a year, I still have 1 year to get creative. And as a payment consultant, unfortunately, I see a lot of creative solutions which are taking advantage of the lack of the regulation. If the businesses are getting together with the government, there has to be the same aim, which is making everything safer, cheaper, and more effective for the end client, for the user who is actually living in a society and tries to take advantage of this technology for all the good means, not to avoid taxes or not to do anything illegal. So there should be both of the effort from both ends, whereby the businesses are promoting fairness, transparency, and the willingness to adhere to the law, which many times, unfortunately, I don't see that, and we have seen that absolute bloodbath what happened in Estonia for all the right reasons, to cut out all those weed companies who are all there for the wrong reasons, because I highly doubt that there are 3,500 Estonian crypto companies who are willing nothing else but good, and they really want to improve the society.
Just to interrupt you there, are there still 3,500 applications in circulation in Estonia?
That's what I understood, that was basically the number of licenses which were given out
But there was, if I remember well, after the first year, they culled 50% of the licenses they issued, right?
Exactly, and that is the reason why.
Okay.
Because then the regulator said, whoa,
We have
what's
no
going
idea
on
what we're
there? It cannot be right, okay? So obviously the government has a legal and ethical responsibility to go there and fix everything, which is really taken advantage of because there was no regulation. Were there problems from both ends? Yes, obviously. The regulator was too late and the businesses were too eager to make money. Of course, everybody is to blame here. But we need to really see that how to get out of this situation in the best possible way together as a team, from the private sector as well as the government, and that's what MiCA is aiming to do. Of course, there are multiple ways why it can fail, but if we put this goal in front of us, to create companies who are really trying to benefit the end customer in a safer, better, more advanced technological way, which is also regulated, then we can have a better future.
I mean, I'd like to believe in the sort of positive nature of man, but at the end of the day, we did see $25 million JPEGs floating around just for the sort of sake of greed, right? But Chinua, you've been awfully quiet. I mean, you're sitting in between three women having a little bit of a cat fight here, so,
Yeah.
So I don't blame you at all. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think MiCA definitely has the right intentions. Intentions is a really strong word because obviously if you look at other parts of jurisdictions, for example, the US, I think they are in regulatory disarray at the moment. Obviously there's been the closure of Signature Bank. This has kind of raised concerns globally. Obviously US is still a financial powerhouse.
Yeah.
But also, when it comes to, there's also been lawsuits against Gemini, Genesis. These have all kind of made everyone get worried, basically, essentially. So I think that MiCA are doing a really good job. And I just want to clarify from everyone, is MiCA or MiCA?
MiCA.
MiCA, okay. So
I might stick with MiCA, so just to sort of make Tanja a little angry. But
Like, we are from the Baltic area. We're going to say MiCA, and you're going to say MiCA, okay?
Of
And
course.
you can also pronounce it in the American way.
Of course, I like MiCA. But yeah, what I also would say, I definitely think the intention is there. I think that they are prioritizing privacy, innovation, and regulatory compliance. So I definitely think they're going in the right direction. However, MiCA is not perfect. There's something called Article 68, which kind of puts a big stop on trading companies, and all of these types of restrictions, they kind of push innovation back. Obviously, blockchain is governed by decentralization, and the information that they're requiring trading companies to ask for.
can you expand like specifically on Article 68? Because this is the first time I'm hearing of this.
Of course. So Article 68 is a requirement from MiCA that allows, well, it basically forces you to share information that identifies you. Obviously, decentralization is the whole reason why we're here. We don't want to give away certain information. And obviously...
Decentralization and anonymity are two different things, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I think with the certain information that you have to give, or they want you to give, it kind of staggers the industry. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Ladies?
We are just like looking like a sharks on you, you know?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna be first. So, you say that the MiCA pushed technology back. But wait, for few years, I mean, like not for a few years, 12 years in crypto, yeah? For how many years we've been waiting for go out from the gray market? For how many years we were looking to increase the trust from customers and government and start to be a bit closer to fiat, okay? And I think that what we have right now with MiCA, what we got with MiCA, is we finally, yes, it's on one hand, it's boring to go to central bank every day like EMI did before, but right now we start to be really closer to the white market, okay, and we really start to increase the trust, okay, even in case we need to make really huge paperwork.
But wait a minute, guys. Who wants to pay tax? Is there any way in the world that I can avoid paying taxes and can get away with it? Trust me. It's like the tax advisors are the first one who is jumping on opportunity. It's not a choice. It is a force. It is not a will that, yes, I would love to handle my money. It gets my money in my ways and watch me not declaring it. Yes, it's great, but eventually, if everybody is thinking about like that, and bear in mind the most traded asset is a tether. Why? Because people want to find alternative ways how to still transact and pay money to each other without regulation and without paying taxes. It is not sustainable. It's good for an individual, but it's really bad for society. So there has to be something which stops you to cheat tax. If there is no anonymity, then what is it?
Hold on. What is bad for society?
Not paying taxes.
Tax or anonymity? Okay, not paying taxes. Okay, cool. We
I just
agree.
want to answer this.
Yes?
MiCA focuses on centralized entity. Yes. So when we speak about decentralization with MiCA, it just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And if you are using centralized entity, you are leaving your data over there. You're giving your information. The same thing that goes with the traditional financial system. So yeah, Article 68 is a bit of a, it goes against what blockchain is, but MiCA in itself goes against what blockchain is. You can still transact peer-to-peer outside of the central entities. DeFi is not included in MiCA, so you can still have innovation over there. You can still do your thing over there. But if you're using centralized entity, unfortunately, no one's going to let you not leave your information over there.
Yeah, no, of course.
Especially with the AML and everything else that we have. Like, it's not the ideal situation, but it is what it is.
I mean, look, DeFi is a sort of like, and I'm just going to sort of come right out and say it, right? I think DeFi is for degens. I think that's my opinion. But to Natalia's point, we've been sort of like living in the sort of shadows and playing in the grey markets for a long period of time, right? So in many ways, I agree with you in the fact that regulation is sort of like
if you still want to avoid taxes,
no?
take a cash and put it in your pocket. That's still the way, okay?
Look, cash is.
It's just like an example.
Look, if you don't want to pay tax, there's a million ways to do it, and you can do it. You can do the same thing with crypto. You can do the same thing with fiat. You can do the same thing with cash. Like,
people who try to avoid taxes, they will always find their way.
Exactly,
and there is all getting cut down.
Exactly,
Slowly.
And taxes is for the poor. Let's be clear, right? Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you.
And I even believe that the people who try to avoid taxes create the new markets and create the crypto, and they will create the new currencies in new market as well.
And I stick myself under that umbrella, by the way, right? Like let's just be clear. But I mean, look, we've seen the EU sort of make some crazy strides and some sort of impactful movements on the sort of data privacy and regulation side, like with GDPR, which was its own clusterfuck, for a lack of a better word, right? But I do agree with Chinua that I think the intent is good, right? What do we see, I mean, from a sort of a Maltese license holder perspective, I mean, there are maybe 8 license holders, so the question is kind of irrelevant. There's 8. There's literally 8, right? If you go on the VFA register in Malta. But there are, to Viktoria's point, there's a lot of Estonian and Lithuanian license holders, right? So what does this mean if I am a business and I'm currently licensed in either of those 2 places? What does MiCA mean for me?
Can I cover Malta? So there is something which is called simplified authorization process, right? And MiCA tells you that if you have an equivalent regulation, you can benefit from the simplified process. You do not need reauthorization. The regulator is just going to look into your business model, bridge the gap, and what MFSA is promising, like anything between a couple of days to a couple of weeks, you'll have your own MiCA license, and you'll be able to passport across EU. I would say that that's not the case with Estonia and other jurisdictions.
Sure.
I can cover Lithuania, so it's similar to the Lithuania. They are kind of working very closely to companies that hold the license. And this is good because obviously is a much more pragmatic approach, and also they are granting an 18th month grace period whilst everyone kind of gets up to speed with MiCA. So
that's interesting to know. That 18-month grace period is interesting to know.
Yeah, but then you have 18-month grace period, right, in which you're going to apply for a license. The application process is going to take forever because all the regulators, they're not familiar with MiCA, they're not familiar with the technology, and everyone is going to experience what we experienced in Malta 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
So you're going to take a couple of months, minimum, to a year, to get the license, and during that period, you'll have 18 months from now, then at least a year, and during that time you cannot passport within you. You can still operate only from the jurisdiction where you are. And if you go to France or Malta, some other jurisdiction potentially, you get a license now, MiCA comes into force, you just bridge the gap, which you probably won't need to bridge because the MFSA is already preparing for MiCA, and you have your license in 18 months, 19.
Like Malta, it's almost a non-existent jurisdiction as far as crypto goes, right? Like as someone who's sort of laid his body down on the fucking tracks for it. But I think there's a few Lithuanian and Estonian license holders. So what are your thoughts?
I'm trying this, like we have 4 minutes, I'm trying like to change the topic and I'll ask Tanja because she's a legal person.
Remodding, I like it, let's go.
Sorry.
Let's go, it's cool.
Before we get into that, let me just add really quickly that the regulation, it is for your clients, yes, but overall it's for the banks. So you can have the shiniest regulation, you can have the best regulation everywhere, but if you're not good enough for the banks, you won't be able to make business. So that's the other thing that you need to keep in mind, that the regulation, it looks good on the website and it's great to keep everything, but you have to be good enough for the bank who is willing to work with you.
But banks will be willing to work with you once you have MiCA license.
Are they willing to work with you with the Lithuanian VOSP license?
No,
is it
no,
a
no,
breeze
that's
to find a bank account now?
That's not a license, it's a registration.
Exactly.
So
Whoa! Shots fired! Legal shots fired! But okay.
So
Natalia, go ahead.
My question is about the good opportunities we get with MiCA. Because as I understand, right now, all crypto companies start to be close to EMI, and as well as EMI companies, they have rights to, and they have access to SEPA, SWIFT, and cards, and that is really, I mean, like I've been talking to a lot of crypto companies, and they all the time ask us, like EMI, guys, we have crypto, but we need a shoulder, because our clients, they interested not only in crypto. They will get crypto and they need to transfer it into fiat and pay for the foods in supermarket, okay? So right now, I think it's really good opportunities for crypto companies. They can do that by their own. Of course, they need some kind of partners like EMI companies to provide them with the experience, like previous experience, because they still have no idea how to manage it. They have regulation, but have no idea how to manage it, and they probably can miss something in the paperwork, you know. But I think that is really huge opportunities for the crypto companies and the market. What do you think, Tanja? Because I'm not in legal, I'm a communication person.
I'm trying to understand, you think that there's a huge opportunities once MiCA comes into force, or you said there is a huge opportunities for the companies,
for crypto companies,
once MiCA comes into force, or now?
Now, I mean, I think they right now they have more right than before. That's what I mean. And they can do more than before. They right now can get access to SEPA and SWIFT, for example.
Can
and
they?
I'm not sure about that.
That's what his question.
No, I'm not. I don't think they can. I think that's
Victoria?
the biggest issue that
Definitely
we
not.
have.
I've got a payment consultancy company which is making money out of their
I
frustrations.
mean, like with some.
That's my job, right?
I mean, like just because they start to be financial institutions. They start to be financial institutions.
The crypto companies?
Yep.
Once MiCA comes into force, but what MiCA tells you is that if you have an asset which is backed by the state currency, you are e-money. And you do not fall within MiCA. There's certain...
Backed or pegged to?
Huh?
Backed or pegged to? Meaning
Think both.
the reserves
Yes.
are...
No, value
USD
and
or
pegged.
the value is USD?
Value is USD.
The value, so
The
pegged.
pegged.
Okay, so
Yes.
pegged, okay.
So if you have it back to state currency, then you have to apply for the EMI license. And there are certain articles within MiCA that will apply from a tech point of view, but you are e-money. Because there was a loophole until recently. You could play around, because there are certain characteristics of e-money, and you could play around with your T's and C's or your legal opinions, how to avoid being e-money, but like that's not going to happen. Asset-backed reference tokens and stable coins are going to fall within here.
Okay, guys, one answer question because the time is up. MiCA, yay or nay? MiCA, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yay? Nay? Nay?
Right now, no.
Right now,
For right now,
no.
In 1 year, yep.
Yes.
Yes?
Yay.
Happy days. There we go. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.